to EEKS Living, where we shine so bright. She goes the host, making everything feel just right. Love, laughter, and glow, that's what we're all about. Come on, join our family, let's really shine. Games and challenges, excitement in the air, friends and guests joining us everywhere. From cooking to crafting, we'll try it all, creating memories together.
Anytime that a woman is with child, we all expect that she's going to have a healthy child. We all expect that a child will going to hit her milestone or his milestones. But did you know that at times that is not the case? Today we're at a very special place that we get to see one of these kids that has one of these conditions. We'll get to explore so much on the condition, at least a little bit for us to get the knowledge. Welcome to this week's episode. My name is Shiko, and let me introduce to you our guests. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Marek Krakus. I come from a country in Europe called Poland.
Yeah.
But for last 26 years, I live in Kenya, and this is my second home, my family. And here I decided to spend all my life until the end.
Yeah. So we are here at Faraha, and we've been hearing a lot about Faraha. If you could be so kind to let us know what you do at Faraha, and how did you come up with the name Faraha?
Yes, Furaha started in 2016 here in Meru, and the name, it came very fast to our minds. I am the founder of the Furaha together with my wife, Jadlin. And when we thought about the name for the institution, which will take care of the children with cerebral palsy, with the Down syndrome, with autism, we came with one name, Furaha. Furaha, of course, it means happiness, and we would love to offer a little bit of happiness, not only to the children whom we are serving, but especially to their parents.
Yeah.
Having in mind that these children, the families, they are stigmatized, they are discriminated in the society. That's why for them, through our activities, through our occupational therapy and other services, daycare, we want to offer just a little bit of that happiness to their smile, to their face,
Yeah.
so that they can feel that they are loved, they are accepted, and they are not discriminated, and they could feel very friendly, very safe in such institution.
Yes. And are you a therapist yourself? Do you get down with the kids, or
I am not therapist by profession,
Yes.
but I would say that I am brain behind all this project.
Yes.
Because this is my passion. All my years which I spent in Kenya, they were, it was my sacrifice and my passion towards children in special needs, but not only special in the sense that children who are in needs.
Yeah.
And I would say that I am a dreamer. I have a big, big dream which grew in my heart. And I would like to encourage all the viewers to have dreams. And not only have the dreams, but to share the dreams with others. To talk about your dreams. Because my dream, it was very hidden in my heart. But once we started Furaha Center for Children with special needs, exceptional children, I started speaking about it. To build, to create the monument of happiness, which will be the modern rehabilitation center, which will be built in Meru County, in Ruiri Ruarera. The foundation stone will be laid down on 15th of June
Yeah.
2024.
And why Meru? It could have been any other town. Why settle in Meru?
Well, I spent the time in different parts of the world
Yeah.
and different parts of Kenya. But in 2007, I came to run another charitable institution in Meru.
Yeah.
And there I met my wife, love of my life, and we decided to settle in this county.
Yeah.
Here we have our home. Here I'll have family, and I think that here we will stay for long.
Yeah. You mentioned that you've been here for 26 years. When you came in, so you came on mission work or you specifically came for this?
Well, my work was just the voluntary work with different charitable institutions in Kenya.
Okay. And what's your take on especially Meru when it comes to kids with disability and maybe compared to Poland where you come from?
Well, it's a big difference because of that stigmatization, of that stigma of discrimination, and also traditional beliefs in Africa generally, I think, and which are really very disturbing, and they they are a big obstacle in creating a good relationship, even in the families, because as you said in the beginning, every mother would like to have a healthy child, but then if something happens, of course, we know about the conditions which you'll be talking about. The child is, it looks different, it was born differently, maybe it looks different. And here the problem starts with the society. Even their own parents, fathers, most in the cases of in our center, we have single mothers, and the fathers are abandoning or sending their wives with the children to their parents. And then, of course, when the women are young, they would like to start another new life. And most of the cases, the children end up being together with their grandparents. So there is a big difference in this understanding between Europe and Africa. But still, in Europe, we can't say that we are free from that stigmatization, but it's in different level.
Yeah. So you've mentioned you're a dreamer. What's your dream when it comes to these kids? What's your dream for Faraha as a whole, maybe 5, 10 years from now? What would you love to see?
That's the question which is asked so many times during the interviews, not only here but even in Poland, because we have our foundation, which I started 5 years ago, called Help Furaha. And this question, where I can see myself, Furaha, in 5 or 10 years, comes very often. So my answer is, I see Furaha as the very, very well-known organization, not only in Meru County, but in East Africa, because the project which we are trying to implement, building of modern rehabilitation center, it will be amazing project. It will be, as I said, the monument of happiness. It means that it is when the children, the families, the team which will work there, and everybody who will visit that place, it will feel at home. It will feel safe, as I said. It will feel that it is loved, he or she is loved, accepted, and nobody will say, even if the mother or grandmother will come barefoot, dirty maybe because of the rain season, that she has to wash her feet before entering. So this will be the place of happiness. That's why we call our institution happiness, Furaha, because we would not like to have any other bad feelings towards that institution. And of course, in our project, we dream about not only rehabilitation center, but the preparatory school, the health center, which in that area, Ruiri Ruarera will be really very helpful, not only to our children and our parents, but also to the community as large in Ruiri Ruarera. So these are my dreams. Of course, another dream is that, especially for these children and the families, that they would feel accepted and loved, not only by us, by our team, but by the society as large.
We pray and wish you well.
Amen.
And we can't wait to be part of the journey. This is a start. And thank you so much for welcoming us and being part of EEKS Living.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, we'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we are going to meet Mrs. Malek, and who is also the foundress of Faraha Center.
To EEKS Living, where we shine so bright. She goes the host, making everything feel just right. Love, laughter, and glow, that's what we're all about. Come on, join our family, let's read and shine. Games and challenges, excitement in the air. Friends and guests joining us everywhere, from cooking to
Welcome back. Before we went for the break, I said we'd be meeting the foundress of Faraha Center. Welcome to the show. Kindly introduce yourself.
I'm the foundress Faraha Center, and my name is Jadlyn McKenna. Yes, born in Meru County. Yes.
Yeah. So we've just met your husband, who has fondly spoken about Faraha Center, which is also a dream you share. Are you a therapist yourself, or what's your occupation when it comes to Faraha?
Yes, I am a therapist. I have a degree in counseling, and but I'm more based on rehab counseling now. And I'm also an occupational therapist. I'm the youngest therapist in the center. We have 7 therapists here. So among the 7, I'm among the youngest. Yes.
So, of course, we know that you deal with some disabilities, some conditions. First things first, correct us if we are wrong. Are we supposed to call them conditions, disabilities? What are we supposed to call them?
We do well with the conditions. Where we have to mention anything to do with disability, we will still mention, because it's also for the purposes of learning. There is a way you will not be able to separate both when you're speaking of a condition or a disorder, and when you're speaking about disability. Yes.
So it's best to just go with condition
Yes.
as an overall.
Yeah. We can go with conditions. What I'm saying is we can state is as a condition, or if we are talking about disability, we can still speak about it as a disability. Yes, because you also, in the same way, in the same run, we will also have to talk about something like a disorder. Yes.
So like I mentioned of how every woman, when she's with child, of course, she's expecting to have a normal child. And there are conditions that you find. You've had the normal child, but this child is not growing as expected. So perhaps you could highlight on that. What are some of the conditions that you deal with? What are these conditions that start when you're pregnant, or maybe afterwards?
Yeah, we have different conditions that we handle at Faraha Center. And I'll start with the neurological conditions, or probably I can just mention all of them. We have cerebral palsy, we have autism, we have ADHD, we have virtual autism, which is autism associated with the too much screen use. We can also, if you want, we can also call it screen-induced syndrome. We have learning disorders, okay? And also in the center, we have conditions that have caused a disability. That's how I was telling you, there's a way we may not be able to run away from the disability, the word disability. Yes, but we like calling them exceptional children. So we have a variant of conditions, including the delayed milestones, and rickets, whereby we may find a child born, but is not able to achieve the child is growing, but there is that delayed growth. if the child gets to this month, we know that the neck is supposed to hold, the child is supposed to sit, but the child is not achieving that. So we end up also having such kids in the center. Going back to the conditions, a child may get a disease like muscular dystrophy, for example. And you find that child has to come to the center because the child goes losing muscles and becoming weak. You find a normal child goes down and will have to use a wheelchair for them to access and for their mobility. And the sad bit of such conditions, it goes deteriorating and taking the child. Okay. Then we also have conditions that a child gets, a normal child, 16 years old, almost going to university, probably falls from a tree and gets a spinal cord injury. So we have also such kids. And then we also have children who get meningitis. They were not born with this cerebral palsy. It's now we start calling it cerebral palsy post meningitis. So, and this can get a child from anywhere. There is also the meningotuberculosis. So that's where the tuberculosis gets to the meninges. And now this now kind of TB may cause the paralysis or and then we find also the child, most of the things have been impaired, and now the child gets into disability. So you see, we have conditions, we have disorders, that we get now as to the disability state. We have fashioned ourselves at the center to calling kids exceptional children because we believe every child is special. Your child, Rachel, is special.
True.
So we have every child, even my daughter is very special, but these kids are exceptional. They have exceptional needs. They have exceptional caregivers, all that's brought together. We feel they are so exceptional and they need a chance to be happy. Yeah.
So when you speak and when one listens to you speak, you can literally feel how passionate you are about this. I know Malek mentioned that it was a dream of his, and is it something you also had even before meeting him, or did he rub some of that on you?
It truly has played a big role on this. But also, having grown up from the village, I used to attend a school. It's called St. Joseph's Igoji, and it has a small home. I remember my class had like three children on wheelchair, So this is something that I had already developed, like passion on. I could help, Like there was this little girl, may her soul rest in peace. She was called Kangai, and she had a spina bifida, and she would come to class. She would run her activities, go change when there was need, and then there is another young man, he's called Mukundi. Now he works in Turo. You see, now this kind of exposure, it lets you know that, everyone is equal. When you grow with these kids, it helps you, get to that position. And then also going back to my family, I have two aunties. One has a disability, has a hump, and another one has a lifted shoe. Let me call it that.
Yeah.
It's an orthosis. So the shoe is a bit lifted, and also the calipers coming up for her to be able to walk. So you see, because they were born twins, that was the cause of disability. Because also multiple children, they are ndio maana tunaambiangwa they are prone to disability. And then the mother, sometimes you find also the children are being born earlier because to avoid such. Yes.
And so you've mentioned about some of the conditions that you deal with, or some of the conditions that are out there. So which are the most common that you get to encounter, especially in Miro and at your center?
Apparently, we have a big number of children with autism and cerebral palsy. But I would say autism is very rampant. We have a lot of children with autism. Yes. And that autism is dividing itself into two.
Yeah.
The in the psychiatry, we normally talk of autism spectrum disorder.
Yes.
So all the characteristics that one gets, you get diagnosed according to those characteristics of autism. But then we have now the virtual autism, which is like a modern, this child doesn't score for ASD, so gets the virtual autism according to the environmental exposure.
Yeah.
That is the screens, the phones that we have. Yes. So autism is so much, and cerebral palsy is also there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perhaps if you could distinguish the two, like how can one, a layman just, not a medic, you don't have any background when it comes to the medical world, how can you distinguish the two?
Yeah, a child with autism, ile tunasema sasa mtoto hawezi tulia, unamkalisha chini atulii, haongei, although utapata wengine wako na autism wanajaribu kukapcha hiyo speech. So hiyo wenye tunasemanga mtoto wako hana tabia, so because there is behavior involved in autism. There is a stuff like concentration, that child cannot concentrate, cannot coordinate when you put them in one environment. Like a class environment where you have the table and seat. So that child, if they are not going for therapy and that child comes here, you will notice in one way or another that they will be all over. Sometimes even this environment may irritate them, like I come here smelling some cologne, it may affect that child. Okay. We go out there and the car starts ooting, they start closing their eyes. A child is sitting and they start steaming, and those are some of the mannerisms. A child, I come with the cars, I give this child toys, all of them tiny ones. And normally a child is supposed to play with them, manipulate them around, but this child will start organizing them in a line. So those are repetitive patterns. You give them letters or numbers, they will first by organizing them in a line, so they go now picking and organizing them. Yeah. But I normally say children with autism, most of the time, probably they get overreactive, or the sensory modulation becomes an issue because our world is so disorganized and their mind is organized, because when you look at them when they are doing something that they are patterned to, they will do it that way each and every other time. Yes. And then now for the cerebral palsy, you will find a child is not able to walk because we have different types of cerebral palsy. Or if a child is walking, we will have a gait, or the speech will be affected. The movement of the hands and the legs may also be affected. You will find a child with cerebral palsy that has how can I say now, with a mixed cerebral palsy, as both the spastic, unaona wale ukiangalia mtoto umemweka unaona amejikausha. Then we have another one mwenye muscles, now the adenoid ziko so loose. So now the mixed one akona zote mbili, akona ile spastic na akona hii ingine adenoid. So you find those different. And then also cerebral palsy comes in different ways. And the recovery, no, there's no recovery in cerebral palsy because you can't change what has already happened. So the improvement on what the child is able to do depends also on the severity. If it's mild, you will find just the gait or the movement is affected. But the child can do everything. They're able to do kila kitu for themselves. The most severe, you will find you will just have to do maintenance therapy. They are fed, they are dressed, and the chances of achieving, a few things will be difficult. But most of the time, they understand most of the things. They may not talk, they may not move, they may not do, but if you're able to read their facial expressions, you will get a total communication. That is, if you're used to that child, you will know when they don't like this, they don't like that person, you know. Yeah, those are the kind of things that you will look at. Yeah. Then ADHD, probably I can mention that because people confuse it a lot with the autism. But ADHD, it has a hyperactivity and impulsivity. A child may come here and becomes impulsive. I'm touching that, I'm touching this, and they become so hyper, you know. Like wale watoto unasema huyu ni hyper, hata hawezi tulia, kazi yake ni kuruka, kujump, but they are talking, they are conversing, everything, but mind is running, this is happening, that is happening, the other is happening. So planning, organization, you know, becomes an issue. So we try now to work on that as therapists. Yes. And then there are several other conditions like the hydrocephalus that we also have. We also have the children with the visual perception issues. So we have different, you may even find a child that's just come here because of a sensory processing disorder. Everything is okay. But any like texture, like if you remove the shoes of that child and you put that child outside, they will not step on the floor or on the nyasi. They just want to stay with shoes. They will just, you know, lift their two legs. You may also find a child with just a food texture. They choose on food that they can because of the horror, you know. So their horror feels that no, I cannot, that food cannot get into my mouth. You see, so these are the kind of, you may find a child that just come here for because of issues with sensory processing. Yes, so there are different ways and different conditions that may affect the development of a child. And as occupational therapists, we say if anything is affecting your occupations, for example, my occupation is I wake up in the morning, open my eyes, wash my face, brush my teeth. But if all those things are tampered with, you know, activities of daily living, which we call ADL, that is your occupation, you know, that is now the grooming, kila kitu. That is an occupation by itself. For children, we say play is the occupation. Kazi ya watoto ni kukula, kucheza, kulala, you know, na kuendelea, you know. And so if a child is not able to play constructively, then that means this child kuna shida mahali. And when we come to occupational therapists also, we have the levels of play, you know. Mtoto akianza kucheza anacheza aje. So unaona kuna that age that a child wants to play but doesn't want to play with the friends, but then reaches a point and graduates from that and wants to play with others. Then from there to another level, wants to play but we ukae huko, huyu akae huko. For example, a child with autism does not know how to interact. Social interaction is an issue to them. You see. So as an occupational therapist, you try to work on that child's occupation. Okay. Does the child sleep? What time does your child sleep? Because if this child has autism and doesn't sleep, you don't expect that child to be active in class. So there are different things that may tamper with that, the occupational daily activities for this person. You know, when we talk of occupations, we talk of different occupations. So like here, it's a pediatric center. So we have to look at the occupations of a child. What does a child occupy themselves with? So even at home there, when you're there and you see a child, when you give a child a toy, does not follow, you know, like a shaker, and the child, it's colorful and the child doesn't follow that, just know there is a problem. Ask yourself what is happening, because at this point, this child is supposed to be following and the child is not following. You see, a child is supposed to grasp. If I give a child a toy, they will be grasping that toy, probably not releasing. Okay. But there is a point that child reaches and is able to hold and release. Okay. So if a child doesn't hold and release at a certain point, then those are red flags, you know. So we have to work on that. And therapy, hold and release. Are we even able to hold? do we have the enough muscle power to hold and release? So those are some of the things that we say. If this is delayed, then the occupations are tampered with. Then we need to ask ourselves, what are we supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I take you back just a little bit on autism,
Yes.
you mentioned that part where you give a toy, maybe some car toys to a child. Normally they're supposed to play with it and manipulate it, but now an autistic child will start maybe arranging it. But then someone will come and say it's just OCD, you know, and we know with the patterns, how we are saying they're not supposed to, they don't like a change of pattern and all that. Someone will say just OCD. It's a term we loosely throw around nowadays. Someone is just neat, but they insist they have OCD. So how do we distinguish the two?
Yeah, you see, OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and there is, when you go to the DSM, DSM is the diagnostic manual for psychiatrists, which as an occupational therapist, kama wimbi hiyo, you will not be able to differentiate, because actually most of the disorders they almost look the same.
Yeah.
But now we also look at the age. When are we noticing the OCD? Yes. There is a age variance when we are looking at the diagnosis, and this would be explained better by a psychiatric, you know, because every condition has its time of onset. Okay, so when we are looking at the OCD, unajua also tuko na hii tabia, niko na stress, niko na depression, wewe uko na depression, you know. Yeah, but we don't know what really depression is. We don't really know what OCD is. So at this age, where the child is patterning things, toys, anazipanga kutoka hapa hadi pale, are we looking at this? Does this child also have speech delays? Does our child have social interaction issues? Because also the diagnostic manual has a number of scores that, okay, you see, if you have this, 4 of these, then you have this. Okay, so I think we should also get to, as a community, you know, to get to educate ourselves better when we start now diagnosing. I was looking at at clip another day, and what was it saying? That millennials now has you and I. We are the generation that diagnoses everyone out there, and I was just laughing because sisi ndio tunasema huyu ako na depression, huyu ako na that one, you know. And then now the Gen Zs are the ones who are always who diagnose themselves that I am always depressed. You see, so we need also to be aware when we talk about a mental illness. What are we talking about? When you say OCD, it's an obsessive compulsive disorder, but when does it start? You see, unasikia huyu ako na bipolar. You know, then you don't also remember to ask yourself, when does bipolar start? What are the characteristics? You know, so we should look at those things. We should look at age. We should know the behaviors. How does someone present with autism, and when and how does someone present with the OCD?
Then you also mentioned that there's I don't know if you called it induced autism, the one you know, siku hizi tunawaachia screen, hizo ndo babysitters wetu, and it's so easy. I'm also guilty of that, you know.
So
I don't want any mom there feeling as if they're being attacked. Sometimes you cannot even afford a nanny. Other times, even if the nanny is there, it's the only thing that is keeping this child calm. So you give them the phone, you put the cocoa melons and all that, and they keep calm. And you're happy. You can do 1, 2, 3 things. So how do we regulate this? And I am sure some of us, including myself, I didn't know that I could be causing harm to my child. So how do we regulate this, and how do we know that this is the time that it's supposed to stop and this is the time it's supposed to go on?
Yeah, you see, virtual autism is it's very interesting, and it has a lot of arguments out there. Okay, but I have seen it with my own son. When he was around 3, I didn't know a lot about virtual autism because this is not something that was taught in class. This is a recent, is like an upcoming, you know. It's modern. It's a modern problem now. because a lot of people think when I am seated in a car and this child is making noise, what do I hand in? The phone. And the first thing when COVID happened is to order tablets.
Yes.
We are all home. We are used to running with computers, and we are not, the kids are, like everywhere. So what do we do to calm them down? We give them that phone is not a human interaction. The iPad, the TV is not a human interaction. Yes, this is a nanny for us. It's a babysitter.
Yes.
And the brain of the child register what you feed it is what it's going to give you. Okay, so if you feed it garbage, it's going to give garbage. If you feed it with positive new things, it's going to adapt to that. Our brains are plastic. Did you know that? We can receive information according out colors what, and our brain, even if it's damaged, it's able to adapt, to other new information. Okay. So let us also not say if a child has autism, sasa tukae hivyo, but their brain can adapt new things, can be trained to adapt new things. Okay. So now this child who is used to Cocomelon and Angry Danger and Low Blocks, they will register Low Blocks. There is no new information. Okay. Like we normally say, when you're using the computer or the phone for so long and you feel like you're getting tired, just go out and look at the green and you will be refreshed, But now this child is with the computer, the human interaction that is there to improve their speech, hakuna.
Yes.
When I am talking, I am in the kitchen and I am involving my child to mix the flour for making pancakes, or gather the ingredients, get me the onion, get me that.
Yes.
That child does not need to be taught in class that the onion looks like this. Can you see that interaction between you and the child?
Yes.
This child whom I'm telling, we have an interaction outside. We go, we pick plants, we pick flowers, we play football. A child that is playing football is involving everything.
Yes.
The leg, the brain,
Yeah.
the hands, the eyes, conversation, because we are not just kicking the ball. We'll say, Mom, get it. You go do that,
Yeah.
Is seeing this ball, which color is it? But then ile TV is just a stimulant of the lights and everything
they
that
don't
we are
have
being
to
showed
talk
there.
back. They just have
Yes,
to listen.
you will get a child, and we have these children here who have the virtual autism.
Yes.
They sing so well, Cocomelon, those songs.
Yes.
They will talk the English of nose.
Na sio ndo tunataka.
Yes. Hiyo ndio mnataka.
Eh.
But now that is now the TV child interaction.
Yeah.
Take that child there, try to converse with them.
Yeah.
It does not work. And just that is why that child is here. Because now we have to start reintroducing the new images, the new information, the new activities to the brain.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why women are so smart. It's because of multitasking. I'm sorry, men. Because of multitasking.
Yeah.
When that's how the brain is, because your brain can coordinate a lot of things. A woman will be in the kitchen, the child is crying, anasikia hiyo, maziwa ina boil, anakatakata kitunguu, na ana coordinate hizo vitu zote.
Anaitishwa chai na mzee.
Yes, anaitishwa chai na mzee. Vyombo ziko kwa sink na nakumbuka bado anaosha, as in a woman moves, you know. That's why I think it's easy for us, for our brain to stay.
To EEKS Living, where we shine so bright. She goes the host, making everything